All right, welcome everybody for this MOOC course, especially Introduction to Proteomics and Interactomics course. So we are going to today do the live session for two-dimensional electrophoresis. Our idea is that you have already finished some learning of this part of the module, where you have been already taught about protein extraction, separation on the SGS page gel and 2D gel, and how to do data analysis. Followed by now you can proceed for the mass spectrometry based analysis. So today we are going to show you the stepwise procedure. After you have done a good protein extraction and you want to separate proteins utilizing their properties on the molecular weight and isotopic point, then how best you can use this 2D gel based platform. So I'm having this live session directly from my lab, and you can see people working around here. We are going to show you the instrument and setup involved. I'm sure by now you're already familiar with the fundamentals, the basic knowledge of how to do this particular type of technology. But I'm sure to be very beneficial for you to really have a session like this in lab, when you can see how some of these instruments look like, how people really operate these things at the experimental level, at the researcher level. So, two-dimensional gel electrophoresis, as you're already aware, uh, moved from the tube gel based platforms, and then it really got significant achievement from the immobilized pH gradient strips, IPG strips. So I'm going to show you first, one of this IPG strip. This is coming from one of the vendors, where we have different strips available here of different pH gradient. So these immobilized pH gradient strip, as you're already aware of, they can be 4 to 7, they can be 3 to 10, different type of pH can be used. And IPG strip can have different length as well, right? It can be a very small one, 7 centimeter, or it can be very large, like this one, which is 24 centimeter. So IPG strip, you can choose as per your experimental requirement. It would be ideal to have the longer strip, because then you can have better separation. So we are going to show you 18 and 24 centimeter long, whole setup, how you can run large gels, which could be better used for the separation and resolution of the proteins on the 2D gel. So I have with me here two teaching assistants, TAs Vipin Kumar and Kanika. Both of them have been instrumental in handling this course and helping with assignments and the lab sessions. So they are here going to show you stepwise things involved for doing 2D electrophoresis. The very first thing we are going to show you the rehydration step, how to take the protein from the solution form and rehydrate on these IPG strips. So we'll have the hands-on session to show you how to really do that in the tray, and what is involved in the doing passive rehydration and active rehydration. Once you have done rehydration, then you are ready for the next step, which is separating them in the electric field, which is using isoelectric focusing unit. And again, we have the setup here, which let me kind of briefly flash for you. So this is one of the instrument setup we have, which is used for doing the isoelectric focusing. This is IPG4 instrument we have, right? Probably now you can see it from the top. And this is a place where you can insert and you can keep these, your IPG strip inside the tray. This is the tray where we are going to show you the rehydration, the first step. And of course, these are the, we have these IPG strips. Once we have done this particular isoelectric focusing, then we are ready to move for the second dimension separation. But keep in mind that when you are doing SGS page gel, you are boiling your protein, you are denaturing it, and you want to make sure that now denatured proteins are getting separated in the second dimension based on the molecular weight property. The same concept applies here, but we cannot boil the strip. So we are going to prepare the strip for better separation in the second dimension. So to do that, we will be performing the equilibration steps. The two steps of equilibration, 1 and 2, will be shown to you, and then we are ready now for the second dimension separation. For second dimension, we have here the large setup of the this large gels. So as you can see, these are the much bigger glass plates, and we have this running unit, which you can see the big one. It and our 6 unit, which can take 6 large gels simultaneously. So then we'll be showing you how to run the gel in the large units of doing the second dimension for the two-dimensional gel electrophoresis. So theoretically, you are familiar with it. I'm sure it will be exciting for you to watch all of these steps, the details of them, how it can be done in the lab settings. Once the run has finished for the entire gel, then you have to put the staining solution, which we cannot show right now because you have to wait for long to have the gel stain. Then it has to be de-stained, and then only you can see some sort of visible bands or spots on a given gel. So that step we are going to show you that how now you are going to scan that image, because you got the gel after doing the staining and de-staining process. So now you can do the scanning of the image, which could be further used for data analysis. So we'll skip the staining and de-staining part, but we'll take you to the scanning procedure. And from scanning, then we'll show you, we'll share the screen with you, and we'll show you how the scanning parameters are being changed to obtain the right image. And then how best we can analyze the data. So we'll actually show you a live demo of one set of controls and treatment gels to say that how best you can look for the alignments, how best you can do cropping, how best you can look at the 3D views of the spots and ensure that with all the statistical parameters you got the right spots for taking it forward. And this is where the 2D modules will be kind of concluded. Then eventually from this knowledge, then we can build further from the 2D to the DICE platforms. So that will be the next set of discussion which we'll have. But let me kind of now call Karika and Vipin to start the session, starting from the rehydration.
Hello students, thank you for being for this live demo. So we'll start with the first step, which is rehydration of the IPG strip. As you can see, this is the IPG strip. So IPG strip, usually it is available commercially in a form wherein a plastic coating is present onto the gel side. Otherwise it may get damaged. So first step is removal of this plastic film and exposing at gel side. So you can see this plastic film has been removed, and our IPG strip, it has information about its length, it has a particular barcode, and then we will do rehydration now. So in rehydration, what we do is we take the rehydration buffer, which also has a protein of interest, and we add in one of the lanes. So rehydration buffer, you can see it is blue in color. It also has bromophenol blue, which helps us in visualization. It has all cowtropic agents like thiourea, urea, which helps in denaturation of the protein. Now we'll take our strip and we will put it in that lane which has a protein sample. Now, as all of you would have guessed, we will put the gel side towards the protein sample. So you can see we play a little with the strip so that the protein solution is spreaded uniformly throughout, and then further, then we add mineral oil on this so that to prevent the strip from drying. Because rehydration usually happens for overnight, it happens for around 16 to 18 hours. So to prevent the strip from drying, we will add mineral oil. You can see again mineral oil we are adding on top of the strip. Further, we will close, we'll put the lid, and then this is incubated overnight for 18 hours approximately. In this 18 hours, our strip very nicely it absorbs all the protein sample and is rehydrated fully. So after rehydration, the next step is separation using isoelectric focusing. So we already have a IPG strip which we have rehydrated already. So we will take a IPG strip and we will put it in the isoelectric focusing unit.
So basically here you can see these are the IPG4, these are IF instrument, and here's the, you can see So these are the electrodes. Here you can see that one is positive electrode, another is negative electrode, and these are the IF tray. So which I will put on the just on the electrode. Now which we have already one strip which already rehydrated. Now here on the strip you can see. So if you are able to see, these are the like positive end and these are the negative end. So I'll put the positive end towards the positive electrode and the negative end towards the negative electrode. Here you can see now. So after putting the IPG strip, now we having a wick, basically these wicks. So I'll put on the ends of the IPG strip.
So these wicks we are adding because during the separation, a lot of salt will come out from the strip, which will get accumulated on the IPG strip. Further, we are adding the two electrodes at both the ends of the IPG strip, which will ensure a proper flow of current.
So now once we put the electrode, then we have to put the oil also. So this is the overnight step. Strip should not be getting dehydrated. So I'll put the oil. So now once we put the IPG strip, then like we have to put the protocol. So here you can see on the screen now. So now here you will be able to see the protocol for the isoelectric focusing. So first now we are applying the low voltage, like we are applying the 200 voltage for 4 hours. So in starting we are putting low voltage so that like in our sample there will be a lots of salt will be there. So in starting the salts will start to move and it will start to deposit at the end of the IPG strip. Then slowly we increase the voltage like 500 voltage for 1 hour. So now what happens this time, like there will be other salts will be there which are not highly charged, so they will start to move and they will deposit at the end. Then slowly we increase the voltage till like 1000 for 1 hour. Then we are increasing 8000 for 4 hours. So here we are putting the gradients, not a step. So what happens in gradient, the voltage will slowly increase from 1000 to 8000 and it will take 4 hours to increase the voltage till 8000. Once the voltage will be reached till 8000, then we are putting 8000 voltage for 56 volt hour. Means once 56 volt hour will be complete, then it will be moved on another step. So now we put this protocol for the isoelectric focusing, and then it will take around 18 to 19 hours to complete the one IF. Basically, it depend on the IPC strip also. If we having a lower length of IPC strip like 7 centimeter, it takes less time. It will be around 15 to 16 hours. Now, if you are doing the IF of 18 centimeters strip or 24 centimeters, it will take around 19 to 20 hours. Now, once it will be done, how the IF run will be looked. So here you can see on the screen. So this is a blue line which is we already set the voltage, and red line which is followed by the instrument or the IPG strip. If it is going very well and exactly follow the voltage, so it will be overlapping. Blue line will be overlapped with red line. Now, if there is some salt will be in the samples, now here you can see some interference by voltage. So the blue line which we already set, and once the voltage reach till 5000 voltage, so now current is the voltage not going more than 5000 because there will be some salt will be there and then it is interfering. You can see another like how IF run will be looks. Now here is also you can see the voltage not reaching till 4000. Means now we have to clean up those samples before isoelectric focusing or what you can say first dimension.
Okay. So after the separation has been performed in the first dimension, we have to prepare our proteins for the separation in the second dimension. So this preparatory step is actually the step where we do equilibration. So if we equilibrate our proteins for their separation in second dimension. So what we do is, as we've already studied the lectures, we have two equilibration solutions and we incubate our strip with both the solutions. So first we will take out our strip after IPG has been performed. We'll add equilibration solution 1. So the only difference between equilibration solution 1 and 2 is that equilibration solution 1 has DTT and equilibration solution 2 has IEA. So the aim here is to denature the disulfide bonds so that proteins are separated properly. So DTT will cleave the disulfide bonds and IAA will add a methyl group, preventing any denaturation of the disulfide bonds. So we've already added equilibration solution 1. Now we are putting on our strip onto the solution. We again move it a little to ensure that it has equilibrated properly with the solution. Usually we do this incubation for 15 minutes and then once the equilibration has been done with solution 1, we subject the strip to equilibration with equilibration solution 2. So we will then take our equilibration solution 2, we'll add in another lane of the tray. I think there were some technical glitches and there was a time lag. We apologize for the same and we will repeat the demo after the equilibration part. So after the equilibration has been done, what we do is we take the strip and we put it in the SDS page plate, and on top of it we add agarose solution. It's a sealing solution so that our strip is not disturbed in this for separation in the second dimension. Now we have kept our plate in the electrophoretic cassette. We have packed it. We've also added some dummy balance plates. So after our cassette has been assembled, we will keep the cassette in the electrophoretic unit. As you can all see, the size of these SDS pages plates is quite big as compared to our regular sized SDS page plates. And so is the size of the electrophoretic unit. So we have taken the unit and we have taken the cassette and kept in the electrophoretic unit. We'll add the buffer and then we'll start the run. So the separation in second dimension again takes 2 to 3 hours, and after the proteins have been separated, we first stain the gel using Kumasi blue staining solution. We destain it and then we scan for further annotation. So we'll now show you how to scan a gel. We have a one-dimensional small gel, SDS page gel, and we'll show you how is that scanned using a TabScan software. Gel will show up. So this is the gel that we are going to scan.
You can see the gel basically. So these are 1D gels which we already run. Now we are going to scan this gel by using our lab scanner. So here you can see the like procedure how we are going to scan now. So when you are putting the gel, just ensure there should be no air bubble between the gel and the glass plate. Otherwise, it will be reflected in the image.
I think we can show it from the beginning because again, sorry, there was a technical glitch because of which you could not see the first few steps. So it's pretty simple. We'll close the window, lab spec. We'll open it again. So it's a software and which we use to analyze or to scan our gel images. So this is the software. So first we always check what settings are there. So usually we keep transparent mode. Sometimes we also scan Western blot membrane. For that we change the mode to reflective mode. But in this case we'll keep it transparent mode itself. First, what the instrument does is it does a preview scan. So it scans the entire area, the entire surface. So first is this preview scan that is happening, and after this, the main scan happens. So as you can see, it has scanned the entire area. Now we'll select only the area where our gel is actually placed. So these are simple some crop and move tools which we'll use to select this particular area where our gel is kept. We'll just adjust its length and height of the box which we are going to then scan. So this has been selected and now we'll hit the scan button. We'll click OK. And now the software will scan only this particular area that has been selected. So now you can see the gel has been scanned. Now some of you would not like the current contrast, so we can actually do that. We can change the contrast as well. So we can so this is how we have changed the contrast. You can see bright, the bands are more bright, now they are more sharp. So further, we can then just save this image. We'll click on File, Save As, and we'll save in the TIFF format. And this image we can then later use for any annotation or any comparison.
We'll show the poly gel. So once we scan the like 1D gels, and I will just show how to like look 2D gel.
This is a scanned image of a 2D gel that we have already run before, and this is how a good 2D gel looks like. You can see there are a lot of spots, there are a lot of proteins are there.
So now once we have done the like all experiments, like we having a control and the treatment, and then we have run the different gel. Like so we have control, we have run the 3 gel, 2D gel, and then for treatment we have also run the 3 gels. Then we have to compare. Now there will like one gels around, there will be 500 600 spots, so we cannot manually match those spots, like which are the down and which are the up, and which having are more intensive or less intensive. So basically for that we are using a different software. So like we having a IMP7 software where we can upload those images, then we can crop, and then we can do the adjusting, contrast adjusting, and then we can mesh those gels. So just I will show you like how we, there is a how it looks. Now here you can see, so I already uploaded three gels. So here you can see that there are C1, C2, C3. So basically these are the control gel and these are the treatment gels. And these are the spots which is like you can see outlined by the software. So these are the spots. So here you can compare the different gels and then which are the intensity. If you want to see like how the spots looks, the 3D view of those spots, you can also click on the specific spots and then just go. Here you can click. Just I will open this software again. I'll just minimize the other windows. Now here you can see these are the like 3 gels, and then you can see there are some spots here are visible, and here in the same gels you can see. Now if you want to compare those spots, just click on the spot. Then go to report. So you can see there are corresponding spots in all gels. Here you can see how it is visible in other gels also. So where the first gels where the intensity was more, here you can see the clear the spots, and in another gels here you can see. In there some gels where it is not like present, here you can see there's no spots here. So in this way you can also like confirm your spots, like it is actually real spots or it is a just a false spot. In like sometimes like here you can see this region, this is not a like actual real spots. So when you are doing the analysis, you have to go manually each and every spots and then remove those spots. Like if you click there and then go into edit, then you can remove those spots. Now it's done. So in this way you can remove those spots and you can also make those spots, and then you can do your analysis.
All right, so you got a glimpse of the different steps involved in the process. Of course, the actual experiment takes much longer duration and it needs a lot more, meticulous effort. And in fact, scanning what we showed you for SDS page gel was not for the 2D gel. So in the 2D gel, you should see the spots, not the bands. But the analysis was shown to you for the 2D gels. What you may realize that when you are analyzing 2D gels, if you have many replicates, you will start seeing that how much artifact the gels have, running artifact, the sample artifacts, overall which will affect your analysis. And then to find out something which is very much significant from a stats point of view, you'll have a really hard time. So despite all your efforts, you may end up only getting 10, 15 proteins which are hardly significant from the control to the test conditions. And those are the proteins of interest which you would like to take forward for identifying that what those proteins are, right? But to overcome some of the limitations of 2D gels, which is kind of all this artifact which we just talked, a new method can be employed, which is Daish-based methods, differential electrophoresis method, which you have already learned in the module by now. But now what you, in the same continuation of the live session, in the next week, we'll show you how you can do the labeling of the sample using different type of sign-in dyes, and then in which way you can do the multiplexing experiments, how you can scan those images, and some sort of the key contrasting pros and cons of using 2D gel based method versus 2D dye gel based methods. So those kind of discussion we will have. So I hope that you got at least much more confident feel of doing the entire gel-based proteomics workflow by now, from attending the lecture sessions on the videos as well as the live session looking at in the lab. However, if you still have any queries, if something is not clear to you beyond assignments, something which you think you can take forward for your own research, something for your lab skills, please do feel free to talk to us, post your query or send me an email. We'll be happy to reply back to you. But do join us the next week again when we will have a live session talking to you about the DICE technology. Till then, thank you very much.